opening the tomb of an ancient Chinese king. But what's inside? Shocked archaeologists. Hello, welcome back to the latest video on the Ancient History channel. Did you know that for thousands of years, this earth has silently kept countless mysteries that no one has ever uncovered? Untold historical stories, forgotten people, and lost civilizations lie deep beneath the ground, waiting for us to discover them. Only when humans begin to dig deeper do shocking secrets gradually come to light, astonishing the entire world. Today, I'll take you on a journey to explore mysterious archaeological discoveries and stories never before revealed. For example, in China, an ancient coffin suddenly appeared containing the body of a king who ruled for only 27 days before being mysteriously dethroned. There are no historical records explaining his sudden disappearance, so what is the real reason? Who is behind this dark conspiracy? Then, right beneath a simple sweet potato field, archaeologists uncovered a 700-year-old tomb bearing traces of a vanished civilization, raising countless unanswered questions. Even in Africa, strange mummies marked with mysterious symbols carved into their skin continue to baffle archaeologists. Who were they? Why were they mummified in a way unlike anywhere else? Are you curious to help me decode these mysteries? If so, don't take your eyes off the screen, because now we're going to start with our first discovery. The coffin of the king dethroned, after 27 days in China. Did you know that there was once a Chinese emperor who sat on the throne for only 27 days? It sounds like a sad fairy tale, but the truth about his life and tomb contains fascinating mysteries that have amazed modern archaeologists. The story began in 2011, when archaeologists discovered a waterlogged tomb near Nanchang City, the capital of Jiangxi Province, China. At first, everyone thought it was just an ordinary grave, but as excavation continued, they realized this was the resting place of Emperor Liu He, the 9th emperor of the Han Dynasty who lived more than 2,000 years ago. Liu He was born in 92 BC and was the grandson of Emperor Wu of Han, Liu Che, one of the greatest emperors in Chinese history. However, his life was far from smooth. After Emperor Zhao of Han died without an heir, court officials chose Liu He to become emperor in 74 BC. But just 27 days later, for unknown reasons, he was dethroned and stripped of all his titles. Liu He was then demoted to the rank of Marquis of Haihun and lived as an ordinary noble until he died in 59 BC at the age of 33. You might think a king who ruled for such a short time and was dethroned would be forgotten, or at least treated with disrespect after death. But on the contrary, Liu He's tomb was remarkably well preserved and contained thousands of priceless artifacts that astonished experts. Inside the tomb, they found nearly 167 bronze coins, 480 pieces of gold, and many pieces of jewelry made from jade, gold, and bronze, the largest amount ever found in a single tomb from the Western Han period. Not only that, archaeologists also uncovered priceless items such as a painting of Confucius, possibly the oldest portrait ever found in China, along with 5,000 bamboo slips engraved with his teachings. This shows that even though he was dethroned, Liu He was still treated like a high-ranking noble, never diminished or forgotten in history. But there's more. A special discovery that caught archaeologists' attention was an orange-colored box inside the tomb. Although the copper casing had corroded after thousands of years, inside the box were perfectly preserved golden bugs. Upon investigation, archaeologists identified these as Cordyceps sinensis, a rare and valuable herbal medicine famous in ancient China, known for boosting health and prolonging life. This further proves that even during the Western Han Dynasty, the royal class knew how to use cordyceps to care for their health, knowledge that modern science still recognizes today. You see, from a king who ruled just over 3 weeks, someone you'd think no one would remember, came an incredibly rich archaeological legacy. This proves that in history, power and the length of reign don't always determine a person's true value. Liu He's tomb is not only a treasure of history, but also opens up stories about culture, philosophy, and unsolved mysteries of ancient Chinese civilization. So, have you ever heard about this short-lived emperor before? Does Liu He's story make you reconsider the value of time and eternity in history? Personally, I find these discoveries truly astonishing, so much so that they even change countless understandings of history, especially the history of China. A 700-year-old tomb beneath a sweet potato field reveals untold mysteries. Have you ever imagined that right beneath the simple, familiar rows of sweet potatoes we see every day, there could be an ancient secret full of surprises? If not, let me tell you a story that happened back in 1953. In a small rural village in Hubei province, China, a farmer was busy harvesting sweet potatoes when he suddenly discovered a small, hard object glowing strangely beneath the soil. After wiping off the mud, he realized it was a jade hairpin, intricately and delicately carved. Just think about it, such a precious item appearing right in a farmer's sweet potato field. Could it really be a coincidence? The farmer himself knew this was no ordinary object, so he immediately handed the hairpin over to the local authorities. Soon, an archaeological team was sent to investigate and made a stunning discovery. Beneath that sweet potato field lay an ancient tomb about 700 years old. Inside, they found two well-preserved coffins, with the carvings on the wooden surfaces still clearly visible, leaving the team amazed. But do you know what shocked them the most? When they opened the first coffin, they found an almost perfectly preserved female body, fully immersed in liquid. However, within just a few minutes, the body suddenly began to deform horrifyingly. Her limbs swelled, her belly ballooned like an inflated ball, and her tongue stuck out. The face, which moments before was clearly recognizable, quickly became so distorted it was unrecognizable. This phenomenon was similar to that of the famous Marquima's double mummies, which we covered in a previous video. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to check out the channel. The atmosphere at the site was tense and full of fear. The body kept swelling and then shrinking rapidly, decaying in a strange, grotesque way almost instantly. Many witnesses couldn't understand what was happening, so they called in medical experts. After thorough examination and analysis, the experts concluded that this phenomenon resulted from improper preservation. Without proper sealing, groundwater had seeped in, creating an environment for gas-producing bacteria to grow. When the coffin was opened, the body absorbed air, swelled up, then released gas, causing it to shrink and decay rapidly. But the next question arose: who was this body? To answer that, archaeologists continued searching for clues and eventually found a wooden plaque inside the coffin engraved with the name Madame Dan. This was the only lead. However, no historical records in China mention her. This is understandable, considering the limited documentation of women's status in feudal society. At this point, archaeologists temporarily set aside identifying the woman and turned their attention to the second coffin. Fortunately, there was a tablet that clearly named the male occupant, Huang Chengzun, a high-ranking official who lived during the transition from the Song to the Yuan dynasty and died at the age of 78. From there, they tentatively concluded that the female body might have been his wife. But it's important to stress that this conclusion is provisional, as there are no specific records about her background. As you can see, this story is not just an ordinary archaeological discovery, but a journey back in time to history's unresolved mysteries, isn't it? The only mummy found in Africa. When you hear the word mummy, you probably immediately think of ancient Egypt, with its grand pyramids, powerful pharaohs, and mysteries that have never been fully unraveled. But what if I told you that an ancient and arguably very unusual mummy was discovered not in Egypt, nor in the Americas of the Maya civilization, but right here in Africa, specifically in South Africa? Yes, this is not a science fiction story, but a real archaeological event recorded for the first time in history. A mummy of a man was found in a shallow grave nestled against a rocky cliff in Africa, and this discovery stunned the scientific community. It wasn't just the unexpected presence of a mummy in a land without a tradition of embalming that shocked experts, but also the series of strange mysteries surrounding the identity and origins of this man. Right after the mummy was found, a series of DNA tests and detailed analyses were carried out. The first thing that caught scientists' attention was the strange position of the mummy. The man was buried in the fetal position, a pose both sacred and deeply symbolic. What's even more remarkable is that this was not a case of intentional embalming like the rituals of ancient Egypt, but rather a natural mummification process caused by the dry, hot air of the environment where the body was buried. So, who was this man? When did he live? And to which culture did he belong? To answer these questions, experts got to work, and the results showed that he lived during the Iron Age, a crucial period in human history. This discovery surprised scientists even more, since this era was not known for widespread body preservation or embalming practices. It seems that his death and the way his body was preserved became a precious historical accident, giving us a rare glimpse into the life and culture of ancient communities in Africa. What makes this discovery even more special is the extensive research by scientist Molobogeng Bodiba. Using specialized genetic analysis, she determined the mummy, named Tuli, has a close genetic relationship with two modern African groups, the Sotho-Tswana and the Khoisan peoples. This is not just an archaeological find, but a key that opens a door to the deep origins of indigenous ethnic groups, revealing thousands of years of unwritten history. According to ethnographic records from Zimbabwe, when a leader dies, special rituals are performed, such as drying the body over a small fire before burial. However, for the Tuli mummy, there is no evidence of such practices. This confirms the accidental yet incredibly valuable natural preservation of the body, a gift that nature itself has given to modern archaeology. The existence of the Tuli mummy has not only shaken the scientific community, but also raised many new questions about human history. Could this be a unique case? How many more mysteries remain hidden beneath Africa's vast lands? The initial information this mummy provides opens a promising new chapter for archaeology, ethnology, and sociology. Because every bone, every strand of DNA, quietly tells the story of an ancient culture that once thrived and survived strongly amid the wild nature of this land. Europe's largest ancient crypt, holding thousands of strange mummies. Have you ever heard stories about a place where the dead seem to still be present right before your eyes? With skeletal remains so strangely well preserved, it's as if they're simply asleep? But if you've never known exactly where that place is, then sit tight, I'll reveal it to you. The Capuchin Crypt in Palermo, Sicily, is one of those mysterious places that leaves anyone visiting for the first time both chilled and amazed. This isn't just any crypt. It's considered the largest mummy treasure in Europe, housing over 1,284 carefully mummified bodies, including 163 mummified children. Just that number alone is enough to give you an idea of the crypt's incredible draw, right? Step inside and you'll immediately feel the cold, damp air as if you've stepped into another world, one where time seems to stand still. The remains are arranged methodically along the walls in various poses, some lying down, others standing, and some sitting quietly as if waiting for something. But do you know what's the most unique part? Each body is dressed in clothing that reflects their life. Some wear monks' robes, others are in soldiers' uniforms, and some wear the traditional dresses of women from long ago. Through these garments, we almost hear the stories of each person's life told through layers of fabric. That's not all. The mummified children receive even more careful attention. They're dressed in their finest, brightest clothes, creating a striking contrast between the stillness of the crypt and the innocence of the departed children. Among them, Rosalia Lombardo stands out as one of the most famous mummies. Rosalia was a 2-year-old girl who died during the Spanish flu pandemic in 1920. Her father hired a chemistry professor named Alfredo Salafia to embalm her, and to this day, she appears to be peacefully sleeping, with rosy skin and golden ribbons in her hair, evoking both gentle sadness and amazement in anyone who sees her. Her mummy is considered one of the best preserved in the world, captivating both visitors and researchers alike. But here's something you might not know. Besides these perfectly preserved mummies, the Capuchin Crypt holds many mysteries yet to be solved. For example, the cause of death and identities of many of the mummified children remain puzzling to scientists. Dr. Kirsty Squires from Staffordshire University is actively researching to uncover these secrets, as most of these children came from middle-class families, yet it's still unclear why they were embalmed like adults. More than just a resting place for mummies, the Capuchin Crypt clearly reflects the cultural, religious, and social values of its time. The way the mummies are arranged tells a story too. Male mummies are placed apart from females, monks are separated from artists or lawyers, and children are completely separated from adults. These small details reveal the old beliefs and respect for social distinctions. Originally, the crypt was reserved solely for Capuchin monks, but over time it opened to the public and became a must-see attraction in Palermo. If you enjoy eerie experiences, want to challenge yourself, and explore deeper questions about death and life, this place offers an unforgettable journey. The Capuchin Crypt isn't just the home of mummies, it stands as a living testament to the sophisticated embalming techniques and profound religious faith of the people of Palermo across centuries. Skeletons holding hands for 1,500 years. Normally, seeing two skeletons lying next to each other isn't unusual, but two skeletons holding hands tightly, both male, and having stayed like that for over 1,500 years, that's something that makes you shiver and find it hard to believe it's real, right? Well, I'm here to tell you this discovery is absolutely real, and it's been puzzling archaeologists ever since. The story began in 2009 in the city of Modena, Italy. While excavating an ancient cemetery, a group of archaeologists unexpectedly uncovered two human skeletons lying side by side, holding hands. This shocking image stood out not only for its rarity, but also because it raised countless questions about the relationship between these two deceased men. At first, due to poor preservation conditions, determining the skeletons' genders was quite difficult. Everyone assumed they might be a male-female couple, a tragic love story like a Romeo and Juliet in Bones. But things were never that simple. Thanks to highly accurate protein testing and tooth enamel, scientists finally uncovered the truth. Both skeletons belonged to men. This discovery immediately sparked a fascinating debate. Who were they? Brothers? Lifelong friends who fought and died together in battle? Or could they have been lovers? It's hard to say, but not impossible. Many experts from the University of Bologna believe that burying two men holding hands could not have been a coincidence. It must have had meaning, a symbol of strong friendship, deep brotherhood, or an inseparable bond that transcends time and space. Among them, Federico Lugli, one of the leading scholars on the research team, suggested they might have been cousins or comrades who died together in a fierce battle. Why did he say that? Because the site where the skeletons were found was known to be a military cemetery. So, their hand-holding in death might symbolize a sacred warrior's bond, sometimes even stronger than blood ties. However, there's also a bolder theory. Some suggest this could be one of the rare pieces of evidence of same-sex affection in ancient times, something rarely clearly documented in burial rituals before. Of course, this remains speculation. To this day, the true relationship between these two men remains a mystery, and perhaps they wish to keep that secret forever. The woman's remains clutching treasure, fleeing death in the Pompeii tragedy. Curled up on a cold stone bed, inside a room covered in ash and dust, lay the skeletal remains of a woman, her hands still tightly clutching shimmering gold coins and jewelry. This wasn't a moment of nobility or glory, but a final moment, a failed escape from death. The story of this woman, uncovered during excavations in the ancient city of Pompeii, has left the world in stunned silence. In August 2024, in Region 9 of the Pompeii ruins, archaeologists discovered two skeletons inside a small room labeled Area 33. One was a young man, around 20 years old, who died beneath the rubble of a collapsed wall. The other was a middle-aged woman, estimated to be between 35 and 45, lying on a bed in the fetal position, surrounded by an array of gold, silver coins, and precious jewelry. Just hearing the name Pompeii instantly brings to mind the horrific tragedy of AD 79, when Mount Vesuvius erupted violently, wiping out an entire city in seconds. Scorching volcanic ash and deadly gases, mixed with rock fragments, rushed through the streets at terrifying speeds, killing thousands within minutes. The room where these two sought shelter was likely their last hope for survival. That room remained free from volcanic pumice, leading researchers to believe they sought refuge there intentionally. But when the adjacent room filled with thick ash, the air and temperature suddenly shifted, trapping them inside with no escape. The man was crushed by the fallen wall. The woman, perhaps able to survive a few more minutes, lay down on the bed, clutching her most precious belongings, and quietly closed her eyes. What surprised archaeologists the most was the sheer amount of treasure beside her. Gold, silver, and bronze coins were scattered around as if hurriedly gathered. Among the artifacts were a pair of Crotalia earrings, an intricate design made from gold and pearls that jingle softly when moved. Only the wealthiest in ancient Roman society could afford such luxury. There was also a pendant shaped like an amulet, a symbol believed to bring good fortune to women in childbirth. This led to a theory. Was she a noblewoman or the wife of a wealthy merchant? When the volcano erupted, did she rush to gather her valuables and hide in this room with the young man? Perhaps her son, servant, or someone whose relationship remains unknown? But that treasure, something people often believe can save them, became a haunting witness to a slow, inevitable death. The woman instinctively chose to carry gold, silver, and jewels with her. Yet, at the moment death engulfed that room, all these possessions became meaningless. What once symbolized power and survival was reduced to mere decorations surrounding a petrified human in history. You see, Pompeii is not just a city buried by lava. It's a place where time stood still, preserving the raw and poignant final moments of human lives. And this woman, with her pearl earrings and hands full of gold coins, stands as perhaps the clearest symbol of humanity's helplessness against nature. What do you think? If the apocalypse came one day, what would you take with you? And what truly deserves to be held on to until the very end? For me, it's probably just life itself. Dear friends, so the mystery of the skeleton of the woman holding the treasure above has also concluded our journey of discovery today. Which discovery impressed you the most? Leave your comments below in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you will be the first to watch the latest videos on the channel. Now goodbye and see you again.